Hello innovators, welcome back to another crypto outlook. Hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend so far. I thought it's another perfect time to get a little bit of a crypto update out there for you all, have a little look at what I'm currently looking at, and more importantly reflect over what's happened over the past few weeks and start putting into perspective kind of everything that I've been saying over the past few months and weeks that is slowly but surely starting to unfold. Now, in this video in particular, we're mostly going to be focusing on BTC and of course the beloved XRP, but we may take a little look at Ethereum and LTC as well. Now, starting off with the BTC1 exclamation chart, which is the CME futures chart, something that I've been mentioning for a very long time now are the lingering gaps on the CME futures chart, which I've been believing for a very long time, literally since the point of even December 2020, when we started breaching higher, that these gaps would inevitably and eventually come in to get filled at some point. Now, at the present point in time, the most recent gap that's been formed was the $37,700 region. Now, this gap has not only been filled, but it's also now been slightly obliterated with a little bit of a push lower. Now, when we go back a few months and when we look at kind of everything I've been saying, which I'll be elaborating even further in this video, during this point in time, we've got the gaps down below at $9,665, $18,415 and $23,795. Now, even from the point in time these gaps were formed here around December 2020, no matter how much higher price kept going, I did still believe, and I've stuck to my guns, that I do believe these gaps will be filled. Now, when we're going over the bull run that we've been in, and when we look at the current price action, the telltale signs are shifting. We are already either in a bear market or slowly but surely revolving into a much more drastic bear market to follow. Now, many people have been saying, this is still the bull run, we're still in a bull run, or this is not going to end yet, we're going to 100k, blah, blah, blah. I do not think that's the case. I actually think now, the more I monitor this chart, we are going to potentially start heading into that $20,000 to $18,000 region on BTC. And one of the driving forces behind that kind of decision and bias is the fact the CME futures gaps are now lingering dangerously below and very close to where the current price action is. So it's actually becoming increasingly possible now that the next extension lower for BTC will take us back towards the prior all-time highs of $20,000, even breaching a bit lower to potentially fill this gap in the process. Now, going over to the BTC Dominance chart, the innovation members will know when we were around the 60% BTC Dominance figure, I was anticipating the BTC Dominance to come back down to around the 40% support level, which we've actually come back down, tapped pretty much precisely into the anticipated zone, and seen a nice and significant retracement higher already, which is already showing a telltale sign that the BTC Dominance could be massively increasing over the next few weeks and months. Now, it's important to remember that no matter what people think about their altcoins, or no matter what people think in general, BTC is essentially still controlling the market. And with a BTC dominance that will be looking to increase, this could obviously have a much more significant impact on many of the altcoins as well. Now, even when we saw this BTC dominance drop to over 40%, or down to 40%, shall I say, it still created and caused many of the altcoins to drop down with it. So it shows no matter what is really going on in this market, no matter what many people's beliefs are, BTC is still in significant control. Now, the XRP dominance is something I've been paying very special attention to, with this potential head and shoulders or even triple bottom that could be forming over here. Now, as we can see from a weekly perspective on this XRP dominance chart, we've got the nice wick over here, something I cover in the lessons frequently. BTC is now depleted and reversed higher, and the XRP dominance has gone higher and started depleting from here. So looking at the XRP dominance with this huge manipulation to the upside, taking it into around the 3.2% dominance region, we've seen a significant pullback down, creating a double bottom support, driving higher to come and take out this area. All we've seen is the wick fishing come through, but the candle bodies have actually remained within this boundary, which is now telling me we could be seeing this XRP dominance coming back down to around that 1.40% level, which is very beneficial for the downside targets I've been projecting. Now, what we can imagine, once we go over the XRP chart as well, putting this all together, combining this with the BTC dominance, If XRP comes all the way down in terms of dominance to this level once again of around the 1.2, 1.4% dominance level, this could be the catalyst for that parabolic breakout we've been anticipating on XRP. But as you guys know, before any form of parabolic and continuation to the upside comes through, I heavily believe we're going to bottom out massively once again. Something I've been saying in prior videos, and something I haven't necessarily needed to update on too strongly, because if it's going to happen, it's going to happen over time. And at the present moment, if we do go over to the BTC chart on the weekly, when we start breaking this down now, I have predominantly been observing and just analyzing the crypto market on the weekly timeframes only, because I do not care for what's happening in between this process. I have not been trading crypto at present. I've been sitting back on my hands, patiently awaiting the next moves in the market. Whilst many people here, and you've probably already noticed yourselves, all of these moon boys that have been saying BTC pullback, buy the dip, we're going to 100k next, they've all vanished off the face of the earth once again. Now suddenly no one's talking about crypto again. Suddenly no one's showing us their blockfolio gains anymore, because all of these people have been hodling, anticipating a major breakout higher, not taking into consideration what's been going on the higher time frames. Now, first of all, you'll see the moving averages on my chart. The reason I've got these moving averages up is for the alleged and apparent death cross that everyone's been talking about, and that is the 200 moving average being crossed over to the downside by the 50 moving average. Now, I personally do not use moving averages. However, when we actually look at this death cross over here and we look at the overall movement of how this has been going, we have been in a significant bull run, and anyone that says this is not the bull run is quite frankly absolutely deluded to the highest extent possible. This has absolutely been a bull run, and we've been in that bull run since March 2020 when I made that additional XRP investment. We're at the very bottom, and the reason I've done that is because I believed we would be going into a bull market, which is what we've seen. Now, shifting over and looking at BTC right now and the death cross, I've never really been a big believer in using moving averages or even looking at death crosses, because I've already believed from around $60,000 the descent would start to begin for BTC. However, technical analysis is a self-fulfilling prophecy. And looking at this death cross that is now lingering in the headlines, there's people saying we should be paying attention, but the majority of the headlines are saying this means nothing, it means nothing. Well, no, it's number one, a self-fulfilling prophecy. The same way we see a head and shoulders formation on BTC, whether that's up there or down there, there is a head and shoulders that has clearly formed and caused a significant crash in price. Now remember, we actually had a short position running with the community around this level over here. We just got stopped out, anticipating a drive down to the $30,000 region and even the $48,000 region. I cannot believe the unlucky, absolutely unlucky thing that happened, where we just got spiked out and then it absolutely started dying in favor of our overall bias. But putting that aside, we've taken some profits anyway, so I personally do not care. And I'm going to show you guys the Kraken account, I'm going to show you the balance, I'm even going to show you the buy orders and what I've been anticipating, because I actually believe we are well on our way to seeing BTC go much lower and bring the rest of the market with it. Now, technical analysis is a self-fulfilling prophecy. The same way trend lines, they get hit and they get retested, price bounces off the moving average, they are self-fulfilling prophecies because every single person is looking at the same thing. So whether or not a death cross essentially means price will or will not die, it is potentially a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it's very likely now we've seen this death cross, that's enough to scare most people senseless into actually selling and causing a much larger panic. Not to mention miners, a lot of the mining operations are being shut down in China right now, as you guys have seen, where that certain region of China had over almost a 90% dominance of the BTC hash rate. That's now dropped to around 40 to 50%. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the market right now, which is starting to back up all of my claims that I've been saying for a very long time, that we are eventually going to shift into a bear market, and this is not going to last forever. It never does. And whatever I'm saying right now, if we just get rid of these moving averages, it doesn't really mean the market's dead, guys. This is one thing I'm always enforcing here. When I say I think BTC will go back to $10,000 and even $5,000, it's not to scare people, it's not to cause havoc, it's not to cause chaos. It's to be very realistic and help you guys understand that eventually this happy parade of never-ending profits will eventually come to an end at some point. And that's why I've been enforcing, doesn't matter how much higher it goes, you need to be extracting profits out of the market on a consistent basis, because that way, as you'll see very soon when I show you the account, you are then covered and you are a winner in any situation that happens. And many people can say stuff like, you know what, you're playing both sides of the market, you don't really know what you're doing. To be honest with you, I don't think anyone, and in all honesty, I don't know 100% what's going to happen next. And because of that, and I'm very honest in saying that, the people that are saying, you know, when people say, no, BTC is going to 200k next or 100k next, that is just a fabricated prediction. There is no logic behind that. There's no backing. You can use any fundamental data you want. You can use anything you want. It's made up. There is no historical price action. And for me personally, I find there's much more skill in predicting the downsides, because when you take those downside factors into consideration and potential downside targets, we are using historical price action, which is a factual basis to actually make a much more reliable prediction. Whereas if I'm saying to you guys, no, BTC is going to $5,000 next, where's the skill in that? Where's the logic? Where's the prediction? It's not hard to say it will go to this level next. It may do, but it's a lie. It's made up. They are just guessing. And this is what people use to really entice people into basically buying, whether that's their service, whether that's just buying into crypto, and probably because they're scared, senseless, that their own bags are going to deplete in value. Now, I think the BTC Monthly is a good point to start off on as well. As we can see, and this is something I've been covering with the innovation community, and you'll see this further from a weekly time frame perspective, we've technically already formed the top over here, and we have now seen that solidified by the monthly candle being incredibly bearish. Now, it's very important to remember the monthly candles historically, every time we've seen a bear market come into play, there has always been a significant bearish candle, as we can see by the filled in candle. We've got the holographic candles over here, which are not filled in. They are the bullish candles, and the bearish candles are green and filled in. As we can see, 2017, parabolic, we had a little bit of a green candle there, slightly bearish, pulled up, but then the significant bearish candle comes into play. And from the moment that bearish candle closes on the monthly at the peak of a bullish rally, it all goes downhill from there. As we saw before, bullish rally, one green monthly candle, we start rolling over to the downside, and we very rarely even bother coming back up to even reach higher. As we saw here, the more significant the bearish candle, the less likely we are to actually reverse back to the upside. So I'm using a lot of this historical data to start kind of proving to myself that maybe I was right all along, and maybe this is slowly starting to unfold. Now, looking at this current price action over here on the monthly, we can actually see, similar to what I said, huge bullish candle, huge wick left behind. The candle went in to get filling and filled the wick. However, we didn't really breach too much higher above. The second candle spiked even higher, which created that perfect trend line I was talking about to breach higher. One push, manipulative push again, third and final manipulative push, but the candle body closed back within this region, causing a significant spike to the downside. This wick over here, the same way this wick came in to get filled by the following candle, was a massive telltale sign for me. Price could be coming down to fill this candle. Now, as we can see, the following candle after this one tapped up a little bit higher into that region again and absolutely plummeted, not only filling this wick, but absolutely annihilating it and closing back below. So if we are looking at potential retests on the cards, I cannot really see this going much higher than $48,000 to $52,000. And to be honest with you, I would actually like for this to happen, because I would like to take even more profit off the table. And I ideally want to take another 100k off the table. And I'm going to be covering that in further depth once we get over to XRP and onto the Kraken charts and platform as well. Now, from a weekly perspective here, this is where things get very interesting, because now we've got the head and shoulders formed. We've now dumped lower. We've breached all of these levels over here. And as we can see in the present moment, if I go over, this is something I showed the members again as well, in the last, well, not the last, but the 2017 bull run, when we formed that huge bearish candle to the downside that completely engulfed the prior bullish momentum, we saw a following candle that pushed up with a wick. The following candle filled the wick, closed below the wick, it then dumped lower. If we go over to the present day, we can see the exact same thing currently happening. And that is why I've marked out the $40,861 level, because we've breached the wick over here. we have not closed above this wick. Instead, 1, 2, 3 weeks, we have seen almost an identical mirror of what is going on over here, which was sharply followed by a bearish weekly candle closure, bearish weekly candle, 1 day and 8 hours left. If this closes bearish, we could be seeing the exact same thing coming through. And seeing a movement exactly like this would then match up with the BTC CME futures gaps being filled at $24,000 and $18,500. A bearish breakout of a similar size would take us back down to the prior all-time highs, $20,000. Just below that, we have around $18,500, which is pretty much around the level of where this wick is. So essentially, if I just get rid of that and create a zone down to around $18,000, this is now a huge area of interest for me to see price retest before dictating what will happen next. Now, one thing that's very important to me is, despite the fact I've been saying BTC could go to $10,000 or $6,000, $5,000, which is still now a massive possibility in my eyes. Now we've seen this very humbling market crash come through. I've always said, at the bare minimum, even during this rally, we can easily come back down to $20,000. And the reason is, this is such a crucial level for the market to come back and see. So even if we do not see 10K or 5K come through, BTC can easily still come all the way back down towards this level, even push down to $12,000, $10,000, close back above, and then continue on its merry way higher. However, using some specific factors, putting some trend lines in play as well, we can see if we start breaking down over the week, in correlation with this downside trend line over here, this could easily start rolling over either immediately by the end of the week. If we go to the following weekly candle coming down, that takes us to around 16. The following weekly, we're around 13,000. Following week, around 12,000. And depending on how long this takes, this could even correlate with that 4.5, 5K region over there as well, depending, and that is in July. Now, the prediction I gave for these downside targets was around the end of July, beginning of August, where I do still personally believe it's actually very likely now the crypto market could start bottoming around July, August. And if this all starts continuing exactly how it's playing out right now, we're looking increasingly more possible that this could all be coming through. So instead of me being the guy saying, guys, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, no, that's irrational, it's stupid, and overall it's pathetic to be thinking in that manner. We have to be sensible. And for me personally, I am a very simple, straightforward person. I buy at the correct times during the peak of the bear markets. Then you have the freedom to do whatever you want. And this is what I've been saying to many people. What I've been saying in particular, and why you should have been taking profits the whole way up, is because no matter what people say, when a single crash like this happens, which is inevitable, you have now lost over 50%, especially if you're chasing the buys up here and you're chasing the bull market, buying. No one should even be buying throughout this process, because the truth is, the more you buy during a bullish market, the less likely you are, number one, to take profits off the table. Because if you're buying at prices around here, even if you make 100 times return, most people in crypto, that's not enough for them. And they feel if they're buying here, they want to see 100K next. And that's where greed comes into play. And as we know, as we've seen from every historical market cycle, greed consumes the investor into never taking profits. The last thing you want to be doing in this market, I don't care for the excuses of tax or whatever people come up with as excuses, I would rather be in a situation where I'm having to pay tax on my buys and sells than holding for another few years only to end up empty-handed. The goal of this market is to leave with a profit, whether that's taxed or not. I would much rather have taxable profits secured in the bank, knowing I'm making money out of every single market cycle, versus leaving a hodled position stuck in drawdown, unrealized gains, and ending back up where I started. The truth is, most people probably bought above $20,000. Whereas if you buy at the bottoms, whether that's even at $8,000, $12,000, you're giving yourself the freedom to sit back and laugh, knowing you can take profit at any point along the way, gradually, slowly, but surely. Whereas the majority of people, as we know, they're hodling, they're buying more, they're creating their dollar cost averaging, but at a higher and higher price. They're averaging their buys in higher. Next thing you know, you're now suffering a more significant drawdown. Now you're trapped. Whereas if you'd been following step by step and taking profits along the way, you're no longer trapped. You're actually able to leverage this beautiful opportunity to now start accumulating at lower prices. Now you have that opportunity to accumulate your holdings. That is the goal of cryptocurrency. If you really want to hodl for the long term, you should still be capitalizing and leveraging these opportunities and swings in the market to grow your holdings further in anticipation of what could truly be the next sequence of this cycle. Now, what's interesting to note here is if BTC comes down to $20,000 to $18,000, considering that the BTC dominance is now strengthening, that's going to massively increase the possibility that the altcoins are going to go lower with it. And if we go over to XRP right now, you guys know what I'm looking at. You guys know I'm looking for 30 to 20, even 10 cents coming through as a possibility. Now, as we can see in this present moment, as we've seen historically, if we go over to the monthly first, we are seeing an almost identical mirror of history repeating itself again. Go into the monthly, plotting a horizontal ray on the candle bodies over here, price has simply fulfilled a retracement. Now, let me get the Fibonacci up. I forgot how it was exactly done. I think it was the candle bodies on the 78.6. As we can pretty much see, from candle body to the bottom over here, price has come all the way back up, precisely rejected the two candle bodies on the monthly at the $2 region, or $1.98. We have then seen a significant bearish candle. We've also seen the 78.6 retracement. Now, as you guys know, we can ignore the extensions because we're probably and very likely not going to go into negative territory. However, the factors for the retracement are still significant enough to take us much lower. Now, what's more important is looking at the price action of the candle bodies. Huge bullish breakout followed by a significantly bearish candle going and closing around 50% of that candle body. As we can see over here, the candle body closed precisely the same at the same level. We didn't see too much of a price action, wicks going up, wicks going down. This is closed almost identical to the bearish candle, of the 1st of January 2018. We now see the candle body that followed that on the monthly pushed up slightly, started dropping lower, leaving a huge wick. As we can see right now, we pushed up slightly, we've started driving lower. If this pushes even lower by the end of the month, guess what? It may pull back up, leave a significant wick. We pull back up again to maybe the $1 region or so. Now we start depleting back down to retest the lows and start gearing up. It's important to realize where the majority of these altcoins are in comparison to BTC. XRP is at 80 cents. The bottom is only around 20 cents. Look at the size of that distance. It's not very far away now. And this is what I've really been enforcing to people is when I go to Kraken and show you the profit taking once again, I was taking profits because I knew in the event we even see a single pullback, we can very easily return to the lows once again. And if we copy what we were looking at for BTC, guess what? Whether that's this week coming down to 40 cents, whether that's next week coming down to around 35, whether that's in the July, again, look at the date at the bottom down here. As I hover over, it starts to correlate with around the end of July to the beginning of August. And every single factor on every chart is almost leading to the exact same signs. So I'm purely using the historical price action plus the present price action to gather and dictate what could potentially be happening next in the market. Now, as we can see already, if you are following the BTC, the Moon Boys, the HODL Boys, all of this stuff, you wouldn't have taken any profit. You may have been buying more and more, buying the dip, the alleged dip, which is now no longer a dip, it's a significant crash. And you'd be very foolish to not see this as a significant crash. As we can see the wick over here, this crucial support, candle body on the weekly has closed below. Now, what have we done on the weekly over here? We've come back up, we've rejected the support over here, we've rejected again. Overall, we are now rolling over to the downside. And if we do start to see a bearish weekly candle closure as well, it's very likely going to follow the same pattern. As you can see, we see the pullback, we see the rejection, we see another rejection, we roll over, bearish, bullish, bearish, we continue lower. We see another pullback. Now that pullback would probably be the equivalent over here of retesting the 80 cents level. So if we see a break below, it's very likely we're going to start heading towards 50 to 40 cents. What could follow from there is another pullback. If we get the Fibonacci open as well, let's say we come back to even 50 cents. We can see a pullback coming in A, B, C at the 61.8% extension, maybe touching the 78.6, which then leads us down to 34 cents and 13 cents. This is now becoming increasingly possible. If we drag this lower to 40 cents, we go down to A, B, C at around 80 cents. The D extension takes us to 20 cents yet again. And if we look at BTC coming down to this level, that would pretty much correlate with the exact same distance of XRP coming in to the 20 cents region, which, as you guys know, is exactly what I'm anticipating. It's what I've been waiting for and why I took more profits off the table. Ethereum, very similar situation. It's much higher than the other pairs. We could easily see Ether coming in to the $800 to the $1,000 region once more, filling in this wick to the downside over here. If we go over to LTZ very quickly, I still believe LTC, looking at the distance of where it's at, will be coming back to the $50 to $60 region, something I've been predicting the whole way through this breakout. And it's very important to realize when I say a lot of this stuff, you guys can really see now how everything I'm saying is not only unfolding in real time, but it shows why when it looks unlikely during a bullish market, and BTC is a better example, in this process and throughout this process, nobody wants to consider the downside because they're blinded by greed. They are blinded and they want to just keep holding forever. That's not how you're going to make money in this market. And even if you say you're hodling, keep hodling, buying the dip. No one wants to be holding forever, missing out on thousands of % of returns, and then hold all of that to lead back to nothing. And we saw that with GameStop and AMC and all of this stuff that's going on. People are hodling, saying, no, we're going to overtake the governments and banks. No, you're not. That's not going to happen. You're living in a dreamland, a dream world. Your reality and perception of reality is false. That's not the real world. And unfortunately, as you can see right now, banks and governments are going nowhere. They're in control. They can ban it at the click of a finger. And as we've seen already, they can easily control the market with regulations as well. Now, funnily enough, the SEC have somehow, or from what we've gathered so far with their overall regulatory guidelines for 2021, cryptocurrencies are not included in those guidelines, which is actually very interesting to me. Now, with the XRP or the Ripple Labs SEC lawsuit, again, we do not need to worry about the fundamentals. I'm not bothering with the news. I do not care what they're saying about the miners, the SEC lawsuit. It doesn't bother me because the technicals give us pretty much a solid game plan of what could be happening next. And there's a reason we took profits during the alleged XRP pump and dump and during the, well, prior to the Flare network screenshots. Before all of that stuff was going on, we predicted it would go down to 20 cents before the SEC news went live. That's because the technicals give pretty much the overall signal of what will happen next. And from there onwards, whatever news comes out to justify the price manipulation lower, people then cling on to that and think it's gospel. If there's one thing you should know in life, the mainstream media are not there to help you. Their articles are not there to assist you or give you investment advice that will make you money. It's designed to confuse you and throw you off guard. So you end up just hodling, trying to filter it all out and ending up empty-handed once again. Looking at all of this movement that's occurred in the market, I would feel rather foolish holding the whole way through, only to end up back at break even or even in a potential loss if you bought higher with no profit secured whatsoever. So it's very important to realize we could still be filtering down to this level very soon. And all of that is done with BTC going down to $20,000. Many people talk about alt season. They want alt season to happen. I personally feel, although we've seen clearly alt season has not happened because many of these alts have gone parabolic already anyway. But if we are to see something, and XRP in particular, which is why the majority of my focus is on XRP, XRP has not really gone parabolic yet and it has not breached above the prior highs, which tells me that is still overdue. We've already hit our $1 target for the year, we've hit our $2 target for the year. I actually covered this in a few videos back, as many of you guys have commented even recently on some of our older videos, seeing exactly how all of this has been playing out time by time and piece by piece. So if we are to see a potential rally, and XRP is my main focus here, even if BTC comes back down to the $20,000 to $18,000 region, that should be enough to bring XRP down to 20 cents, which is of course where I'm looking to start putting the majority of my buys back in. But as you guys know, if you've been following me step by step and you have that capital extracted out of the market ready to reinvest, anywhere below 50, 40 cents, you should be dollar cost averaging your life away because you're now growing your holdings massively. If we go over to what I'm expecting here, if we are to see some form of rally, there is a possibility BTC will come down to this level and start climbing back higher. Now, as we know, after we see that kind of BTC drop, as we've seen historically, alt season tends to happen after a significant BTC crash. So if BTC can bottom at this level it's very likely what we'll see from that point onwards. If we get a Fibonacci open down to this level, this is where things get interesting, right? So let's just say BTC comes down here to retest the prior all-time high. This will drag XRP down towards the 20 cents level once again. Now what will happen from there is we'll very likely see a reversal because of how significant this level is. However, this reversal with the BTC dominance that's growing, as we see, if that starts growing, that can then aid XRP coming down to this level where we will find the bottom and the dominance will increase from that point onwards. We also have some trend lines over here which can dictate how the XRP dominance could start going above and beyond the 5% level. Now when BTC potentially comes up to retest the 61.8% retracement around the $48 to $52,000 region, that could be the drive and retest from this level that kickstarts a very significant and parabolic rally for XRP that actually goes above and beyond. Or we see historically what's happened before, it bottoms, it goes up, it goes down, and then slowly but surely we see the continuation higher. But I feel there will be no more upside until we bottom out at around 20 cents, as I've said for many months now, despite what's going on. So let's just say from that point onwards, BTC, looking at the sequence, it takes us down to exactly the level I've been anticipating, the $6,000 to $5,000 region. Throughout this process, if we start filtrating lower, the profits will very likely be extracted out of BTC, which still has a significant way to go down to its lows, whereas the majority of these altcoins will be bottoming in again. So it will be very unlikely they will be going significantly lower because they're already around their bottoms as it is. So what that means is if profits are extracted out of BTC on the next profit taken on the way down, they will very likely be filtered over to stuff like XRP, which will then cause a much more significant rally. That's when we can start putting our focus on the likes of $3, all-time highs being broken, $5, $10, whatever that may be. But I personally feel with what I'm going to show you now, and also just to throw it out there as well, the BTC and Tether document interest. Now, as you guys know, the BTC and Tether document is finally finished. Now, it's very important you guys pay attention to this because everything I've written in there is exposing a very different side to the cryptocurrency market you haven't seen. Over 30,000 words, 116 pages of showing you the craziest things that many people choose to ignore. Now, the members already have this. The feedback has been phenomenal. We've created an email sign-up form. We've had over 5,000 people tell us on Instagram and Twitter they're interested in this document. This document has taken me months to write. It's been untold amount of hours in writing. So we've created a sign-up form. If you guys are interested in this document, then by all means necessary, the link will be available in the description below. You guys can register your interest, and if we get enough interest, we will release this for free of charge. I feel if there's enough interest, enough people are interested, it's only right we share this with the public as well. And personally, it'd be quite nice to get my work out there because a lot of blood, sweat and tears has gone into this. And hopefully you guys will enjoy this as well, as much as the innovation members already are. Now, more importantly, let's go over to Kraken. As we can see, and as I may have shown in a prior video, this balance was once at $600,000. We have now lost almost 50% of that. But why do you think I couldn't care less? And that is because we've secured over $216,500 worth of profit out of this market from an initial $30,000 investment. So because of this simple profit taking over here, this XRP valuation of 185,622,000 XRP is now worth only $146,000. I actually had $600,000 there, but because I've taken this profit off the table, I can actually now technically hodl knowing I have won in the process. Now going over to the XRP chart, as you guys can see, the buy over there, let's get this open, the March 2024 buy, or not 2024, March 24th buy, 2020. As we can see, putting this all in perspective right now, we took our profits out, the market crashed, we bought back in again. We took some more profits, that is just $11, that was just for a purchase. We took another $49,352 out at this level of around $1.25. That's the final sale I've made. That was selling 39,292 XRP. We did a little buy over here for 1,000 XRP. That was for the giveaway, as you guys may know. But this is where perspective comes into play. Many people thought I was absolutely insane for taking profit out during this rally, because from $1.25, it then went up to almost $2. They said, why have you sold? It's now going to go bullish. You've missed out. Well, no, because now that $49,352, if I was to even buy right now, so that was 49,352. If I was to buy right now, 49,352, I would get 62,387 XRP, whereas I sold 39,294 XRP. So putting that in perspective, I would get over 20,000 extra XRP simply from taking profit here, not at the peak. It wasn't a perfect sell, neither were any of them. I'm not here to be perfect. But even by taking that profit off the table, sitting on my hands from April doing absolutely nothing, I can now buy back in and gain and acquire an additional 20,000 XRP plus. That is the aim of the game here. The more you accumulate, if you're buying at the right times, as I've shown you guys, and you're selling and taking profits throughout this cycle, you can accumulate your holdings. You do not need the moon at that point onwards. You do not need to wait for $100 or $300 or whatever people are predicting. It doesn't matter anymore. The goal here is to accumulate your holdings, and then you can continuously profit with a much more significant profit when price returns higher once again. As you can see, we've got the total amount over here. At the moment, I've put it at 21 cents just in case it spikes quickly without my knowledge, but I may even consider just averaging in my buys the whole way down. As you can see, we've got a very significant buy order over here for over 1 million XRP, which has been my goal from the very offset, as I already have a significant amount of XRP in separate portfolios. But for this single side investment alone, my goal was to turn that $30,000 investment into over 1 million XRP. And that's why I've been showing you guys this journey every step of the way. But the reason I've been so quiet is because there's nothing to do now, and let the market do what it needs to do. I don't want to try and time this market right now, doing intraday trades or margin trades, buying and selling. No, because I've made enough money. And this is the goal I've been trying to dig home for all of you. And the message that's so important is, throughout this whole process of people screaming hodl, if you simply followed this step by step, like I've been showing for you all bit by bit, you would now be in that situation the same as myself. I could even buy all the way back in right now. So we have how much USD again? Let's just highlight this USD. Let's go over to buy right now, market buy. I could actually get 60, why is that not updated? 216,492. So if we market bought right now, 216, was that 216? 216,492. 492. So even right now, if I was to buy back in at this very price point, I would get 277,406 XRP. A significant growth considering I still have 185,622 XRP still being held in the market. And this is the crucial take home of this video and lesson. If you take profits off the table, you can still hodl and you can still handle that drawdown. The only difference is now I win either way. It doesn't matter if price goes higher and I don't get to reinvest, because there's still a significant investment left in the market. It doesn't matter if you had 20,000 XRP left, 10,000 or 5,000. You need to learn to appreciate that profit is profit. And this market will not last like this forever. Eventually, once we see that regulatory action, once we see those laws enforced, this kind of parabolic growth will eventually stop, and the market will come to more of an equilibrium and start trading more organically eventually. We have to remember, everything we see right now is an unregulated market. The wild west of cryptocurrencies will eventually be regulated and tamed. And that is what I really go into depth on in the BTC document. And you'll be seeing that significantly once you read it. And it will really put things into perspective, especially on Tether, especially on Bitfinex and many other factors. It's really going to open your eyes into the amount of research I've done that will show you a different side into the market. But more importantly here, if we do acquire this and we get around 1.2 million XRP in total, every $1 movement from that point onwards is over $1 million profit. Now, as you can imagine, if it even goes back to all-time highs, I would easily take some profit off the table. But it doesn't, don't be blinded by these numbers. I'm not doing it to show off. I'm just showing you in perspective how you can go from 165,000 XRP to potentially 1 million XRP by capitalizing and waiting for the right opportunities. We're not here to be geniuses. No one knows 100% what's going to go on next. And that for me is a very big driving force behind why I take profits off the table. I never leave anything to chance. I'm not here to be a genius. I don't know 100% what's going to happen next, and neither do these influencers or so-called experts. The most important thing you can do is secure that profit, and suddenly everything is a win-win situation. If it goes lower, granted, the 185,000 XRP will devalue. That's temporary. I don't care for that. Because there's profit here on the table, we can reinvest back in. If it starts going below 40 cents, I can start buying again. And as we can see right now, it's looking like we're getting to that stage. This could be happening very soon. Once I buy, and if this does trigger, if I get $1 million plus XRP on this side investment alone, from there onwards, I can take profit at 0.6. I can take profit at 1, 2, 3, 4. It changes the game entirely. And if it does end up going to $10, $20, $50, or $100, I don't need to explain how much money will be made. It will be significant. But even if you turn 5,000 XRP into 20,000 XRP, that is a significant difference in profit versus making, let's just say $10,000, only to be left back now at around $4,000. It's not worth hodling forever, and hodling will not make you money. As you guys know, I always say, people that scream hodl are people that have no game plan. They are leaving it 100% down to faith. We cannot leave our investments down to faith in an unregulated market. For all we know, regulations could change everything. But I do feel, especially with the Ripple Labs and SEC lawsuit, if we are going to start getting some clarity, it will very likely be a conveniently timed sequence where as XRP starts to bottom, suddenly the positive side of the outcome of the case will start to go public, which, as you can imagine, will then be the driving force to send this to its true value, which I believe is way over $50. It may not happen instantly, but this is significantly lagged behind. Whether it's because of the court case, whether it's because of the exchange delistings, I don't know. I personally do not care. As long as I know personally I've done the correct things, I've made the correct decisions, I've grown my holdings significantly, I can then truly hodl. Because throughout this process, this may never return to and this is coming from me, and I hate that term. I actually believe if we actually reverse and we hit 20 cents and we start breaching higher, it may be unlikely to ever see it at those particular prices again. It may come back to 50 or 60, but from then onwards, I think it will be a never-ending journey to the upside. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration here, but it's just to show you guys now why, even though I sat back and waited, I didn't keep buying, I didn't keep chasing the bull market, by capitalizing on this prior bull rally, we are now in a significantly profitable and beautiful situation. If it wants to keep going higher, by all means necessary, there's still XRP here making money. If it goes up to, let's just say with the current holdings right now, we start going to $5, that's almost $1 million in profit anyway. And I've still got the 200K on the side, that's over $1 million profit from a 30K investment. If it goes the whole way down, yes, we do lose a bit of money temporarily, but we've now got that money on the standby there to potentially acquire me over $1 million XRP. So if it goes down, I'll probably get $1 million XRP. If it goes up, I probably make $1 million. It's a win-win situation, and this is what I've been trying to enforce for a very long time. So I hope you guys have found this video valuable. Again, BTC document, if you're interested, the link will be in the description. And I've got a fire burning inside me right now to release as much content as physically possible for all of you. So in the comments, please let me know what it is you guys want in particular. Any kind of tips and tricks. Remember, the crypto course lessons and the Forex course lessons that Bernie does will continuously be rolled out anyway. Do you guys want the hot picks back for Bernie to start dropping some Forex trades and Forex insights for you all? Do you want certain things in particular? But more importantly, I'm not going to be giving crypto trades right now. We are here to capitalize, and as you can see, more than enough money can be made by doing absolutely nothing except being patient. It's funny that by doing absolutely nothing, we are in a situation now where we are going to, regardless of the outcome, make significant sums of wealth. Instead of chasing the bull run or doing this or that, all you have to do is sit back, buy at the right time, sell at the right time. It can sound easy, I mean, it can sound hard, if anything, because people say, how can you time the tops and bottoms? Well, no, I haven't perfectly timed the tops and bottoms myself. I've just sold when it started pumping and bought when it started dumping. It's as simple as that. It's no kind of heroic work, it's nothing too special, just timing the market, a bit of common sense, and it can absolutely change your life. And the goal of everything we do here is to help you guys build true wealth and change your life. And that is the reason I pretty much get up in the morning, is to help people change their life. And that is why these videos and all of this stuff is made. It looks unrealistic in the moment. They wanted to, you know, mock, they wanted to laugh, but now it's unfolding. And this is why it's not here to say I'm right, it's to say please pay attention, because everything we say is here to benefit you and help you create a life that will basically help you for the rest of your life, if that makes sense. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Anything you guys need in the comments, please let me know. It is hard to get back to every single comment with everything else that's going on in our lives, but we take everything on board and we read them all regardless as well. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll see you very soon in the next video update.